Well, Roger, Gala, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you. We're really excited to be here.
Please, quick round of applause for our great guests here. Chris touched on this already, but tonight is all about story. And with us here are two storytellers who've made a career of doing just that. Really excited to dive in, but before we do, I figure just set the stage a little bit, refresh a little bit of context. Roger, you are, of course, an Academy Award-winning writer, director, known for films like Pulp Fiction, Rules of Attraction, Killing Zoe, Silent Hill, and Beowulf. Beowulf. We'll repeat that one a couple times. And most recently, you founded a new company with Gala, the General Cinema Dynamic.
That's right, General Cinema Dynamics, yeah.
General Cinema Dynamics, plural. And that is a company, AI production company, that's sitting right at the intersection of AI and cinema.
Yeah, and I prefer to think of it as like a generative imaging company. I mean, we are a technology company. We have a specific software, and we have a platform that is not an outward-facing platform, but that we use for our productions. But it really came from the place of I spent years trying to get movies made. And I have a ton of films that I've never gotten made. And there's always been gatekeepers in the way stopping me from production. And I've noticed that while making movies, it's like I spend 99% of my time searching for money, searching for partners to make the film. And then you're lucky if you get that 1% of time where you're actually making the movie. And it was a couple of years back where we were introduced.
That's right.
And I started working with Runway, and I suddenly realized, wow, this is an inversion of that. This is, I can actually, this is an amazing democratizing tool. And so then I thought, well, I want to start making movies at scale, and this was the way to do that. And specifically, and I'm just rambling on at this point.
Please do.
Specifically, there's something special about a movie theater, and that we actually sit in the dark.
The fact that we're all sitting here together right now, actually.
Yeah, you're sitting next to someone you don't even know. And you're sitting there watching the flicker on the screen, and you're dreaming while awake, and you're having this kind of ecstatic experience where you're seeing your myths and traditions told to you, and it's a congregational quality, and you're sharing your bodily electricity, and there's a kind of magic that occurs. And the big complaint that I keep hearing about AI, and which I think is a term that just at worst, people are ignorant of it, or even worse, they're afraid of it. The big criticism I keep hearing is that it's slop, that it's just, that it's just garbage that they're putting out there. Well, anything that is on the internet that is just disposable can be considered that. And in fact, there is a movie made by, in 1896, which I think we even have.
Yeah, can we cue that up?
Go ahead and run it, and I'll just talk over it, by the Lumiere brothers. Okay, so here's a movie that was, it's called The Train Arriving at the Station of La Ciotat. It's made again in 1896 by the Lumiere brothers, who were experimenting with this fantastic new technology, this exciting new technology, cinema, and which was really based on old magic, the magic lantern. And they had developed this process, and they were showing it in theaters, and I'm sure that there were theater folk back then who would look at this and say, well, it's a fine trick, but no one will ever, go to see that. They want to connect with the theater experience, and so it's slop. And so this is slop from 1896, which we now consider one of the great.
This is taught in cinema, like in school. People actually watch this now for educational purposes.
Yeah, and so, I mean, it was the beginning of cinema. And so, AI, or generative imaging, which is what I prefer to call it, is it's just yet another evolution in the long chain of technological advances in cinema, from silent cinema to when sound came around, and it's even in Sunset Boulevard. Norma Desmond says, we had faces back then. We didn't need a voice. And because there was an argument that, that sound was crude. Same thing with color. People thought it looked garish and awful and lost the beauty of black and white. And there's widescreen, same argument. There's always these outrages that occur in cinema. And then, digital cinema when it came around. And I was actually one of the people who was like, no, film forever. And and digital cinema.
And here we are.
And
Here we are. And then when I saw that, what was happening, with visual storytelling now in this kind of amazing democratizing way that it was suddenly available to anybody to go to the limits of your imagination, I got really excited because this is just the next chapter in that long story of cinema.
Right.
So 130 years of cinema.
So
So I wanted to make movies for movie theaters because I was talking to my exhibitor partners and they have empty auditoriums frequently and they're like, what do we do? What do we do? And so our goal was let's make movies at scale. And there's thousands and thousands of millions of scripts that never get made in Hollywood. There's a number of stories that people attempt to make that never get made. And and so we formed a company to address that directly and to take these unmade productions and rapidly produce them using filmmakers and using human beings because part of cinema is the collaboration of people. And so we still employ, we employ actors.
DPs, gaffers, costumers,
Production designer,
craft service.
especially craft service because they're in the meat space.
some of the most important. Absolutely. So what I heard, you were having a hard time getting projects off the ground. Now you've got 5 projects, 5 features in the works.
Yeah, we received seed funding and we started off making 3, but then we realized, well, we have the bandwidth to actually do 5, with the money that we had. And so we're rapidly making those. And, we're making the kind of movies that I feel, audiences need right now. We're making, a family film for Christmas. We're making a faith-based movie. We're
An animated movie.
A war epic. We are making a horror film, a zombie movie, of course. I'm a zombie fan, so we had to make one of those. And so we're making a number of movies, and then we're going to be going out for a second round of funding, and we'll probably use Republic, I'm thinking, to do that, so anybody would be able to invest in our company because our goal is to release 52 films next year. And a movie a week is the idea. And to allow these movies, because our exhibitors will allow us to set the ticket price. It's the studios that set the ticket price, not the movie theaters. And so we want to bring movies back down to $5.
Make it accessible for everyone, not only to make, but also to go and watch.
Yeah, so that you can have like a date night, a proper date night.
And with this volume of content and the democratization of who gets to create it, we're going to get to more novel films, more novel stories and voices that are going to finally be heard.
Sure, there's going to be, and by the way, there's going to be some movies that don't work, and there's going to be some movies that do work. That's just how movies
Just
are.
like every other movie.
Yeah,
just
sounds like
because it's AI doesn't mean that it's not going to work or it is going to
Yeah,
work.
exactly. And then eventually one is going to hit. And the difference is that what was slop on the phone, once it's on a movie theater and people are engaging with it like a movie and you're dreaming while awake, you will fall into the production. And I've discovered that that's what happens with audiences with these movies. The minute you trap them in the dark and you put it on a big screen, people fall into the film.
That's what's going to be happening tonight for sure. So
Yeah, and I'm sure the short movies that I've seen that you guys are showing I think are absolutely fantastic. They're of the best short AI films, actually best short films. Don't even have to call it AI.
I mean, I think that's the interesting moment we're in right now, where the technology is starting to fade away, and it really is just, is the story good?
A couple of these movies, I mean, some of them are utilizing the fantastical, the limits of the imagination you can go to, but other ones are very grounded in almost chamber piece-like filmmaking, where they were just, this is our tool for making this movie, and for seeing this vision, and they've limited the camera to the actual inertia of an actual camera and locked down shots, and I think that's fantastic. It's the grammar of cinema that they're using.
Right.
As more AI filmmakers work with these tools and start assembling images together, because the one element of a movie that is unique to cinema is editing. It's once people figure out how to take these shots and then put them together, that is what makes a movie. Everything else is photography and music and costuming and stuff like that. They all existed before cinema. It was editing that was special about it.
Not just the pixels, the arrangement of them.
Yeah, absolutely. And the pixels. I don't even think about pixels anymore. So we're so far beyond that with the quality of the images now.
Yeah, amazing. There's obviously a lot of conversation, a lot of rhetoric around the state of the industry. I'm curious, you obviously see something really promising and exciting in the future of where this is all going. I'm curious to just hear from you what you think the sort of global outlook is here.
I mean,
Positive, I think. I mean, I think we're seeing a resurgence right now in the cinemas of indie filmmaking, and I think using AI tools, it's true indie cinema. It's like people that come together to make something that is just the glimmer in their eye, and suddenly things that weren't possible, like locations and permitting, all of a sudden you're able to do those things with these AI tools. And it's gonna allow a lot of young people and also people that have been in the industry for ages that have projects that they've wanted to generate and to make to actually be able to do them for a good cost. And I think it's just a really positive thing.
everybody's worried about like people losing jobs, but in reality, there's going to be more of us who are actually making movies. And the only people who are really going to lose their jobs are the gatekeepers and the cock blockers. Like those guys are going to lose their jobs.
Good riddance. Well, thank you.
Thanks everybody.
Thank you so much.